Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to the We Got Y'all podcast. I am Rachel, aka Ray P, and I am here joined by my esteemed co-host Kyron Richardson.
Steam.
We are
Steam,
here
he says.
today discussing HBO and HBO Max's White Lotus season 3 finale. Good afternoon, all. Hello, Kyron.
Oh, what's up, Ray? Hey, this is funny. This is one of those I know Rachel moments. So if you hear the obviously if you listen, then you already know how we give it up. But to hear Rachel with the professional voice, because that's the what the fuck did we just watch voice. Welcome back to another episode, man. I'm looking forward to the conversation we're gonna have.
For sure.
Before we get into anything, thank you all for listening to us, tuning in. Um, all right, let's just get there because obviously, if you listen to us this season, cover the White Lotus, and you listen to other shows, um, then you could probably understand it hasn't been the same type of enthusiasm.
For
We've
sure.
expressed this on multiple episodes. It was by chance that we ended up doubling up episodes 1 and 2, 3 and 4, so on and so forth. It wasn't intended that way. We were going to do those episodically, but then it just kind of made sense because each week, I don't know, Rachel, I don't want to speak for you, but it was almost like I really don't want to talk about this, so I'm fine with like condensing the episodes because for example, there's an episode that we discussed. I think it was the meaning of dreams, episode 3, and I had
Mhm.
mentioned like that's the lowest rated episode in White Lotus history,
Yeah.
and I just couldn't imagine getting a good conversation out of it. There's things to do, but we're not necessarily that type of podcast.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of want to have a overall conversation. Normally, we put the episode titles, which we didn't explicitly discuss. Episode 7, Killer Instincts, and
Mhm.
episode 8, the finale, Amor Fati, if I'm saying that correctly. But I don't necessarily, by Rachel's grin, I did not say that correctly.
Oh, I have
Um,
no idea.
oh, okay.
That's why
I
I
thought I had
actually
a,
don't know. You know what
I thought
correction
I
would
had
have
a,
came.
I thought I had a Stefano moment. But the point of having your own show is you can do whatever you want to.
Period.
So we want to kind of shift the conversation, and Rachel doesn't even know. I just want to ask you a few questions about some things. We'll discuss the finale and
Mhm.
maybe some quick hitters, but I think we'll have a better overall conversation, just trying to understand a couple of things. And these are just some thoughts I had throughout the day
Mhm.
as I was preparing. And I guess I'll rewind to last night. If you follow me on Instagram, I mentioned that I was able to see an early screening of a movie, a secret movie.
Yeah.
So Cinemark sent the email. You buy a ticket for $5. It's on one specific day. So
Mhm.
it was Monday for like nigga. It's Monday at 7. Either you're gonna make it or you ain't.
Mhm.
And you don't know what the movie is until the credits start, like until it
Mhm.
actually starts playing. So it could be hit or miss. Now the good thing is it's not a movie excuse me, it's a movie that's not in theaters already. Because I
Mhm.
made the joke, like if I sit here and Snow White's come on, like I'm leaving this bitch.
Yeah.
But it was Trap. Or
Who?
excuse me, Drop, not Trap, Drop. Have you seen the previews for Drop or anything like that? Doesn't matter.
No.
Quick, I described it as a phone booth. Did you ever see Phone Booth with Colin Farrell and Forrest Whitaker back in the day, like early 2000s?
No.
Okay.
Maybe that's not the one with Halle Berry. No.
No, Halle Berry's not in it. For those of you who have seen it, think of Phone Booth and Breaking In with Gabrielle Union,
That I
right?
have
Or
seen.
any of those type of movies, right? Just it's a mix between those. And the
Mhm.
reason it's Phone Booth is because you have this mysterious person, you have no idea who it is, who has eyes on this main person, but that person has no idea what it is or why they're even being targeted, the whole nine.
Mhm.
This woman's on a blind date, not a blind date, because blind dates means you never met. Online dating, meets this guy for the first time after 3 months. They're at this restaurant. All of a sudden, she gets like airdrops about these memes, and it becomes personal and like, hey, if you
Mhm.
don't do this, I'm gonna kill your son type shit. So it went left real quick. Trigger warning for domestic violence. I will say that because I'm like, damn. Yeah. But I say all that to say, people ask me how it was, and I'm like, it was entertaining. It wasn't good. Like when you find out the why behind things, it's like, what the
Mhm.
fuck is y'all doing? But it's not made for that. It's made to entertain you. Shout out to Alonzo. It's 90% bullshit, but it entertains me.
Got
That's what
it.
that type of movie is made for. And I just recently saw something where they were calling for a stop to like the deep dives into these certain movies. I think one of them days people were trying to dissect it. And I was like, yo, this ain't made for that.
I
This
saw that
is
on Twitter. Like,
yeah, this
stop.
is here to entertain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I pose this question to you. I say all that to say ask you this. Would you rather be entertained or would you rather watch something that's good?
Sorry, the hotel, like, it's really loud behind me or in the
No, you
hallway.
good.
I don't know if you could hear it. Um,
And
I
when I
would.
say good, I'm sorry, just to put uh just to be specific,
Mhm.
good not as an elite or great or an all-timer, just as hey, this was cool, I enjoyed it. I've just seen other versions of this and I've seen better versions of it. Versus, hey, this is just least entertaining. If that makes any sense at all.
I wanna watch something good because
Okay.
I feel like that's everything. Like, "Oh, it's okay. It's good."
Okay.
Otherwise, it's just background noise. I wanna watch something that's gonna have me, like, engulfed. Even if I'm not necessarily, like, on the edge of my seat, I don't need that, but I really want something to pull me in and be thought provoking or engaging, or at least just I want to say be entertaining because they're not one and the same. But I want something good versus something that's just on and
Yeah.
some background.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. The obviously in the perfect world, you want good and entertaining
Yeah.
into in one. That's the perfect scenario. Um, however, reality TV and like Love is Blind and
Mhm.
Love Island, all this other stuff, Ready to Love, all these type of shows, reality TV, Keep It Up with the Kardashians, they exist for entertainment purposes. There might
Right.
be some tribalism when it comes to Kardashians and shit like that, but that's a whole nother conversation. But they entertain, they're there to entertain. It's just bullshit. You just want to be, and I'm wondering which one I prefer between because this was a good season. I was thinking I was maybe too hard on the season, not in the sense of me not grasping to it or me not enjoying it because I didn't enjoy season 3 at all.
Hmm.
That does not mean it was not good television. And there's little small subtle things that that Mike does, Mike White, the creator and writer, that I can appreciate as a fan of film and television. But overall, I just didn't give a fuck. And not in a bad way. I didn't care one way or the other. Usually when I say I don't give a fuck, is usually I dislike something or someone. It's not
Yeah.
even that I disliked it. I just literally did not care. And I'm trying to dissect. I guess the whole point of this conversation is I'm trying to understand why. And I know I explored this a little bit on a previous episode, but I want to know your thoughts on why you didn't care about this season, or if you could put it into words.
So sorry, I feel like my face is just crazy. So I want to circle back just a little bit. For me, reality TV on its surface is bullshit, right?
Yeah.
But it can also be good.
Okay.
Like, oh wow, this episode had me on the edge of my seat. Like, where's my popcorn? These people are ridiculous. XYZ. But some of it is just mindless bullshit. Yes. So
Hmm.
I think that there is a way, and we've seen television shows and programs do both. For instance, like the celebrity rehab, this, that, and the third, like that shit used to be riveting. Like these people are really
Yeah.
on their drugs, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great example. That's a great example.
Unbeknownst to me. Shout out to Alec Baldwin. Unbeknownst. But so there are ways that you can do both where it's entertainment and it's actually good, you know. Um this season of White Lotus, and I keep the bad part of this is that season 2 was so fucking good. Every episode, you know. I went back and binge season 2.
Got a conversation. We're gonna have a quick conversation after you finish.
And maybe I shouldn't have. And I did that obviously before season 3 was over. But I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What, I don't know why this is not curling over. I think that season 3 was beautifully shot. I don't even think the writing, quote unquote, in and of itself was bad per se. I mean, minus the incest and this and the third. I don't know why that needed to be a part of the story. Other than what did Lockie say? I'm a people pleaser in a family full of narcissists. I don't think that justifies jacking your brother off, but whatever.
Nothing. There's nothing. There's literally, I don't care what reason you would lay on the table.
No, oh no. But it just wasn't riveting. It wasn't really, for the most part, by and large, entertaining, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's what the biggest thing for me was. I don't feel like the character development or evolution was sort of what we saw in previous seasons. Even Victoria knowing that Piper was full of shit, which
Mhm.
I called
Yeah, you did.
about not wanting to stay at the I was about to call it a resort, but at the monastery essentially, because girl, you're a rich girl. You're
Yeah.
not willing to give all of that up. I think that there just should have been more in the exploration of the characters in and of itself. Kate going up to Victoria in episode one or two, like, don't I know you? Weren't you here?
Yeah. I
Why did
forgot
you
about
give,
that almost.
yeah, why did you give us that? And we never come back to why you needed to speak to her because she's somebody that you know. There should have been some sort of bridge. There should have been some sort of bridge or something to bring all of that full circle. I saw chatter online uh on the bird, people talking about Belinda did the exact same thing to Porn Chai that Tanya did to her. I don't feel like that. One,
Mm.
because unless I fell asleep. Number one, even though Porn Chai presented the idea, Belinda never agreed to it the way in which Tanya did. She didn't volunteer. I also, yeah, that's it. We weren't under an agreement. I have to leave. I think where Belinda did fuck up in that aspect is that the way that she left, she made herself look guilty of something. She made herself look crazy. I think there was just a much better player way to do that. My situation has changed. You just could have been like, look, I have an emergency at home. I need to get back. Even though it's a lie, you're never gonna see this motherfucker again for the most part. Who
Hmm.
cares? You know, like, but she made herself look nuts. So I didn't like that, but I don't think she was as guilty or as deceptive, quote unquote, or flip floppy as Tanya. Because I never agreed to this shit. You asked me, I was hesitant. Correct me if I'm wrong. She never said, yes, let's go into business together. You asked me, you presented me an idea. I said, I think about it. I'm coming back to you and saying, it ain't gonna work. That's it.
I was just about to say this is not the season to ask me to quote. I can quote damn near anything. I don't know what the fuck happened this season.
I did.
And I don't think she did. And I say that respectfully, right? I don't listen. This is what we do. We talk television, we talk movies, we do all of that. So I don't want to sit here and like I'm not critiquing him as a peer. Obviously, writing and putting out some great work. That's incredible. I'm
Yeah,
critiquing you as a nigga that watches TV. And
that's
I'm just
it.
telling you this is wasn't it, dog. Shout out to Mike White and everything you do.
For sure.
And I want to have this conversation with you. But to your point, Rachel, this is how I knew that this wasn't because I'm telling y'all, I'm trying to talk myself into it. And we
Mhm.
all do it at some point, whether it's this show or some entity or some form of art, some medium. Everybody says it's great, and we try to see the greatness in it. We
Yeah,
try. And it's
yeah,
just like, yo, I don't want to be a hater, but this shit ain't that. Y'all
yeah.
hyped it. Y'all hyped it. It happens to all of us, right?
Mhm,
And I tried to say, man, nah, this shit better than what I'm giving the credit for. Ree and Rachel were talking earlier, man.
mhm.
I've just been in a mood in April, right? So I'm like, maybe it's me.
And maybe that's part of it.
Nah, man, I don't think it is. It's been since episode 1. It's been
Yeah.
since episode 1, and I knew it was an issue when White Lotus is brilliant in the sense that there's a who done it factor to it.
Mhm. Mhm.
This is the first season I actually cared about the who done it factor. Like that's what I was anticipating the most.
Yeah.
They did such a good job in episodes 1 and 2. Like, all right, let's go back, y'all. Let's
Uh-huh.
remember the first episode of White Lotus. Let's remember our introduction into this whole world. All right, we get
Is
that
it-
opening scene with Shane. Yeah, season 1. We
Okay.
get our opening scene. I think his name was Shane.
Mhm.
Um, and the people at the airport ask him all these questions. Say, "Hey, man, no offense, shut the fuck up. Like, stop fucking talking to me." And we
Yeah.
see the body, and we know something's happening, and then we kind of get entered into it. That's a crazy way to start a show. And in the back of your mind, you know that somebody's gonna die, but you don't care about it because there's so
Yeah.
much other shit that's going on that it pulls you in, and you care about that. You care about the people. You care about what's going on. Like,
Mhm.
you're really invested. You're emotionally invested. Same thing with season 2. I know there's a body in that water.
Yeah.
I know it's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
But in between, I'm not sitting there waiting like, oh, who's the killer? Who's the
Mhm.
killer? Who is it that actually died? I don't give a fuck because everything else is so compelling that it
For
draws
sure.
me in. This season, the number one thing I wanted to know, how many times did we ask like who you think the shooter gonna be? It might be Guy Talk, because that's what I cared about the most, because they didn't give us any of that other feeling.
For
To your
sure.
point, like you said about Victoria and
Kate.
Kate, I don't the women, the girls, even that felt a little bit unsatisfying.
Mhm.
And I do think, and we were just talking about this on Another Week in the Books, a podcast I'm a part of. Yeah, we were talking about friendships and adult friendships, friendship breakups. And I do think women friendships are much different than men's. So I don't
Mhm.
want to go too deep into that bag because I know there's a different dynamic that I'll never really kind of grasp all the way. And I think part of that is just being able to say, you know what, y'all got me fucked up, but I love y'all. Maybe that was a little bit part of it. That Lori, and I know that's not what Lori said verbatim. Um, I think there's an oddly beautiful monologue, even if it seemed a little bit off. I could appreciate what it was trying to do. I
Mhm.
don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm not the person that would appreciate it as many, because I talked
So,
to somebody today
go ahead.
that um loves season 3. Excuse me, loves season 3 much more than she does season 2. And I think
A
when we
White
talked about it, of White Lotus, yeah. And when we talked about it, you said, I'm sorry, what you asked?
of White Lotus.
Yes, a White Lotus. Um,
We should have had him on. Maybe she could have
and
helped us.
well, I'm about to tell you, because of course when she says this, I'm like, take a seat. Let me talk to you real quick. Let me pick your brain.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
It's because she resonated with the girls' friendship. She resonated. She said, I've been on those trips where the girls are talking behind another girl's back and things like that. Like, I've just lived that, so she can appreciate it more. And I think that piece of it keeps her fascinated. And she's, that's just her personality anyway. It's just a little bit out there. I don't know her, but I know who she, like, I know the girl who I was talking to.
Yeah.
So it was just odd, and I think it's a preference, or maybe it's all really a big nothing. Maybe this whole thing isn't to be taken seriously. Maybe we never get the answer because that's what happens on vacation. I never forget when because this, we got y'all doubles as a Jay-Z podcast, but I'll never forget when Magna Carta Holy Grail drops, and there's a song on there called Beach is Better. The
Mhm.
beat is going, that shit hard, and then it automatically just cuts off. And I don't even know if it's a minute long. And I remember someone asked Jay-Z on Twitter or something when he does one of them random Twitter things. They was like, hey, why is that song so short? He said, that's how vacation is. Like, you want it to go longer. It's not as long as you want it to be. It just
Yeah.
stops and you're going back on with life. And I think part of what Mike was trying to do with this season was just show not everything has to be complete. I think he was just, I don't want to say he was fucking with us, but I think part of him was just fucking with us.
Okay. I can take that. I don't like that, but I can take it. Um,
That's that's the only acceptable thing that I can come up with.
what I will say, even in regards to Lori's monologue, and again, given what I told you before we jumped on here, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong. But essentially, the last time we see Lori before said monologue is getting into that cab. I know
Mm-hmm.
Kate checked on her and Jacqueline wanted to go to breakfast and this, that, and the third. But we don't really see her until dinner,
Right.
right? What we get to this dinner and it's been beef with us the last day and a half, 2 days. Lori experienced some traumatic, ridiculous ass bullshit.
Mm.
I've been on 17,000 girls' trips, don't need another one. When I tell you if some shit like what happened with Lori, I'm going out with these people, these niggas that we met. I go back to the crib with one of them, have to climb out the fucking window because his bitch is banging on the door, coming in the house. I escape by the skin of my teeth, by the strap of my bra, get in the cab in the middle of Thailand in the middle of the night, don't know if I'm gonna make it back. I don't give a fuck how mad at you I am. You think we're not recapping this story?
Mm.
Bruh, I have to tell you. So that is something, that is what is important about girls' trips and about friendships, no matter the drama. When something as ridiculous as what Lori experienced happens, we have to talk about that. Even if we're talking about it at dinner, like, bitch, let me tell you what the fuck happened. And then from there, we get to, I really want to be your friend. We get to, even though all this time has passed, I still just like who I am with y'all. It is what it is. Like, then we get to the introspection of the shit because we, at some point, have to break the ice. I told you I had a girl strip last year. Me and one of them people, we cool, but we still ain't all the way funky how it used to
Yeah,
be.
not as fair.
You acted so ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? And it's back to another week in the books about just letting shit pass. Me, I'm not super confrontational. Like, I once I think you ridiculous or stupid, that's just where I have you in my mind. I don't have
Mm.
to engage with you. I don't need to try to check you about nothing. Like, oh, that's a dumb bitch. Whatever. Not that person, but just that's just where I have you.
Yeah,
You a silly,
yeah, yeah,
you a silly nigga, dumb. Whatever. I don't
yeah.
care anymore. Past that. I just know how I can and can't deal with you, and I leave you there. So we're gonna continue this trip. We gotta have some sort of come to Jesus, like,
That's fair.
you gonna pay for us to do this again next year, bitch? Okay, well, we got to set some ground rules. Ain't nobody fucking, you know.
That's fair.
So I don't know, like, if there just was so much more meat that we could have feasted on from what we got.
100% right.
Hmm.
I think that's the frustrating part
Yeah,
because you have 8 episodes
yeah.
and you still don't build enough up within these 8 episodes to make us really care or get maybe some kind of closure to some point. Because even when it comes to the rat list,
You,
I
I
feel
was.
like we just, I feel
Mhm.
like we, when I say we viewers, I feel like we earned the right to see those reactions and to have a conversation.
Sure. You mean to tell me Tim tried to kill himself for 6 episodes and we in the finale, and we see him attempt to poison everybody except Loki, who
Which is
said that
crazy.
he can live without the money. Nigga,
Hmm.
you're insane. We just gonna get back on that boat, and all you say is things are gonna change for us. Victoria was such, she pissed me off in episode 1. I didn't quite know where we were going to get with her. Victoria is the best character in this season.
I'll we're gonna at the end of this episode. I wanted to go over like MVPs and
Okay.
stuff like that. I couldn't agree more. 100%.
I needed Victoria's reaction to being poor. she spent too much time telling us how good a man Tim was. Tim don't be on no bullshit. He don't lie. He don't cheat. He don't steal. He's a Boy Scout. That's what you said. And you mean
Mm-hmm.
to tell me that we are coming home to the federales in our home, taking all of our things, accounts frozen, this, that, and the third? Can we get home? We on this
Straight up.
boat. We got to pay for luggage on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Can we? Because I would assume the cards are frozen.
Yeah. Like literally, what you got is what you got is what's on you.
Well, what you got is what's on you, literally. So we needed that. Locker, you just escape death. Wow.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. What are we doing? And I get it. And I know the symbolism between what the monk had told him and seeing those petals and what's it
Mhm.
like when you die. Not the petals, but the water splashing.
Yeah,
Okay, I get it, but still, I just feel like we deserve that.
for
Like I
sure.
really do, and maybe even I know I'm looking way too deep into this, but as we talked about Lori and her monologue,
Mhm,
if I'm being honest with you, and this is what she said, if I'm being honest with you, I've been sad all week. I
mhm.
don't know, maybe my expectations are too high. Maybe that's Mike telling us maybe you should look at this as a different thing. And I think
Yeah.
that's a perfect transition because there's something I wanted to ask you, and this
Mhm.
is what kind of sparked the whole good versus entertaining, and it made me really think about what people consider good television. You
Okay.
know, and when I say good television, I mean stuff that's nominated for awards,
Mhm.
stuff that is going to be viewed by multiple people, and they can all agree this is a good television show versus what's just entertainment, um,
Just because
soap
it's not good
opera type
don't
of
mean
stuff.
it's good. Go ahead.
That's no, that's a fact. That's a fact. But at least getting the looks and the conversation that it should be
For sure.
overall. And if you listen to Culture Guard, we have a rating system at the end of every episode. This is from um, a movie site where users can go and rate movies,
Mhm,
um, leave reviews, the whole nine. And they also do it for television. So series have their own ratings, and each episode has its own ratings.
mhm,
8.0 is nothing to sneeze at, right? Out of 10. All right. But
mhm.
would you believe me if I told you that out of what's that been 613 plus 8, that's going to be 21. Out of 21 episodes of the White Lotus, there have only been 2 episodes with an 8.5 or higher.
What's that? Season 2 finale?
Season 2 finale is the highest like user rated episode, and not the penultimate but the one before that, episode 5 was the
Okay.
second highest rated episode. 8.8 is the highest. That season 2 finale, 8.8 or 8.7, excuse me. And then it made me think, that's interesting. Let me look up another show that we're doing right now. Let me look up Raising King
Okay.
and just look at the episodes in there and see if there's anything 8.5 or higher. Season 1, nothing, right? Highest rate for season 1 is 8.4, the penultimate episode. Season 2, season finale is 8.9. So already user rated higher than any episode of White Lotus. Season 3, which was last season, I'm sorry, it's still season 2. Season 3, you have 8.9 in episode 5. You have an 8.5 in the penultimate episode and a 9.1 in the finale.
Finale of season 3 was good as fuck.
So there's 4 episodes right there that have higher ratings as
Mhm,
far as user ratings,
mhm.
not viewership, than any episode of The White Lotus.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, apples and oranges if that's what you want to make, but I'm just talking about quality, good television.
Mhm.
Is The White Lotus what we think it is? Like, is it as good as we think it is, or did we just were we wrapped in the allure of what season 1 was? Like, are we
Oh, no, because for me, it goes 2-1-3 in regards of overall season appeal. Um, I would say it is for whatever reason, season 3 just didn't it fell
okay?
short. Um,
Just,
Ironically, season 3 got the season 2 curse or album 2 curse, you know?
yeah,
So that's
and I
how I feel.
guess I should say this in all fairness. Obviously, if you watch The White Lotus, um, The White Lotus isn't made to be you really aren't supposed to watch episodes individually, right? It's not one of those shows where I go back and say, "Oh, I want to watch episode 5 of season 2 or episode
Right.
4 of season 1." It's not made like that. It's literally the whole package, right? You have to get this entire thing to understand the story, and once you do, it's beautiful. And I still do think there's a little bit of hope that a year from now, as I get ready for season 4, I'm gonna rewatch season 3, and I think I might look at it differently. I think I might appreciate it more. I really am holding out hope for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I could totally see. I don't know. I can't guarantee you, but I could see you coming back to season 3 in 7 months and being like, "Oh, this was much better than I gave it credit for."
yeah, I think it could happen. I'm not saying it will, but it is. It's just.
Yeah.
It's almost like when we did Succession, right?
hmm
Succession is a great television show, incredible writing, great television show. I wasn't running to the microphone to record about it though, and maybe that's part of the problem with it. Maybe it goes back into the whole not everything is meant to be discussed or broken down.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching it, didn't enjoy talking about it. And I don't know what that is, Rachel. I don't know why that happens or what that is.
You know what I should have done, and I might still do, depending on my time. There is a sponsored podcast to the show or like an
Okay.
after show podcast. What I might go back and do is listen to that and see what the actors and writers are saying, how they interpret it. And I wonder, like, maybe am I dense? Like, am I just not getting it? But I don't know. I would be very curious to see. Like I said, I do um look at Twitter. We talk often. Usually when we record, I try to stay away from
Yeah.
uh Twitter and stuff until we record. So I'm not saying anybody else's thought as my own or this, that, and the third. But for White Lotus, I'm like, I got to see what people are saying because am I
I
tripping?
did the listen, Rachel. We are aligned. We're
Yeah.
aligned. I did the exact same thing. Not only that, but I also wanted to see if am I the only one not enjoying this?
And the answer is no.
The answer was no.
The answer is no. I mean, I did see people fighting for it, like, this, and this happened. What you mean you didn't get it? But also,
It's
yeah, it's a lot of shit
see,
happening, but ain't nothing happened at the same time.
see, White Lotus. I really don't. I'm not. I promise y'all, I'm not disrespecting Succession when I say this. Like,
Mhm.
Succession is a phenomenal show, incredibly well acted, incredibly well written. I enjoy the storyline of these rich ass white folks. Like I enjoyed everything about it. But there is a little bit of, and this is what made me think of this, Rachel. You said, "Hey, did I miss something? Like,
Yeah,
are we a little bit too dense?" And I'm like, "No, of course not, because we do this shit. Like we can understand television and messaging and everything
for
else.
sure.
As great as these shows are, there is a little bit of backpack rapper to it.
Mhm.
We've all seen the nigga that's rapping, and there's another nigga trying to tell you, "Oh, see, you ain't even get what he said right there. You ain't even appreciate that shit." And it's like, bro, I get it. I just don't give a fuck that like as much. Like it's clever. Don't get me wrong, because there's one thing to you can be clever and entertaining, as we
Yeah,
talked about at the beginning, right? You can be nice as hell and still talk your shit. Or you could just be straight up nice and your bars are crazy and all that. Nobody's taking that away from you, my nigga. You
yeah,
can rap your ass off. I just don't give a fuck about listening to it.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Who was that on JDP? Was that Ice every Friday? It's Friday. Don't nobody want to listen to no damn J. Cole.
Probably.
There's not one person. There's not one person in the world, I think, that's into rap that says J. Cole can't rap.
Yeah.
They might say they're not a fan of his music or this or that, but they can't say the man can't rap. Man
Mhm.
can rap his ass off.
Yeah.
All right. This how about Kendrick, my dog. I fuck with Kendrick heavy.
I
But
want to hear them
the
flutes.
the joke is always, hey, turn off that Kendrick. You're scaring the hoes.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that the element and the time, and I look at these shows like, yeah, I'm not taking any of your greatness away from you, my nigga. You do
Mhm.
what you do very well.
Mhm.
Actually, you should be discussed more. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Maybe you are quality, quality a little fucking wild. That's a different type of nigga. But maybe you are common, right? Maybe you are these people and you need more credit. But I
Yeah.
also don't care, bro. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna tell niggas you nice, but I ain't about to go on top of the hill and scream it for you.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what those shows are to me. I can't take away their greatness, but the only difference is they got the accolades, they got the Grammys and all that shit. But yeah, sometimes I want the Raising Kanan where it's well acted. I fuck with the storyline, and it keeps me intrigued. Like, don't try to go too far over my head. And I don't know. Maybe I think we had this discussion when we discussed 3 and 4. Maybe just maybe this wasn't meant to be multiple seasons like this. Because at this point, I'm not staying at the White Lotus. Y'all got me fucked up. Why would I ever stay there? Niggas getting shot every fucking year, every continent. It don't matter. Like, what are we doing?
See, I hear that, but I think that you can continue this. It just has to be done right, I guess. And we floated the ideas of different locations and casts, this, that, and the third. And I don't want to call Mike White Tyler Perry. That's not what I'm about to
I
say.
know exactly what you about to say. Because
But
I thought the
maybe we
same
can
damn
bounce some
thing.
ideas off somebody else in that writer's room. You got to get some more people in there, some more opinions, so we can work this thing out.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I thought the same. And the reason it came to my brain was because we had teased the idea of them going to Africa, how appealing that would be. And then I remember, like, oh, Mike White's the only person writing this. This could go bad very quickly. Like, you have to have some niggas in the room.
For sure.
If you're going to do that. If you're going to write about black people. Or you can look at it like the Tarantino effect. So Pulp Fiction is, and I've said this multiple times, I was like, that's the movie that made me look at movies differently. Like, that was the movie when I first saw it. My dad got me hip to it. And a couple years after that, I was able to like fully understand it. I'm like, oh, I know you could do this in movies. I know you could do that in movies. And I fell in love with it. Marcellus is my favorite movie character. There's a scene in Pulp Fiction that you just can't get around. And it makes me cringe every single time. And I've seen it countless times. And it always makes me like, why? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
However, there are people like Jimmy who live in this world that'll look a nigga they know dead in their face and say some wild shit, like Jimmy said in the conversation about the coffee. Like, those people exist, right? And Tarantino's whole effect, when he's asked about this, or has been asked about it in the past, about why does he use the hard ER in multiple scripts? And his answer was because these people exist.
Fair.
Like, they're real people.
Yeah.
And it made me stop for a second, like, the man has a point. Regardless of how I feel about it and him having the right, I think that's a different conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
As a person that's telling a story, if this character that you wrote is an awful human being, that's a racist, you would expect that person to do some awful shit.
Yeah.
Can Mike White get away with that? Maybe. It might be entertaining. It might get him in some bullshit. I ain't gonna hold you.
Oh, for sure.
But it might be entertaining. Who knows, man? I don't know. I do steer back from him having a black theme to White Lotus. But it is, I will say this, it is time to get some black people on here. Besides Belinda, besides the help.
For sure. For sure. I was gonna say I don't necessarily need it, but it would be dope. It could be dope. Again, given the right team and the right like consultants XYZ on board. But shout out to White Lotus. I don't know if you want to wrap up kind of like the characters.
Yeah, so I just want to ask you, let me just quick hit. We'll just do some quick hitters, and I'm just going to ask you if you were pleased with their ending.
Okay.
Let's start with Nate. Nate is Sam Rockwell's character. I believe that's his name, Nate. We see him go on a bender, but Frank, thank you. I think Nate was his director name, maybe. I don't know, man. Listen, whatever. We didn't see a lot of film, but we do see him go on a bender. Tell one of the most talked about scenes in television history, but we also see him at the end at the monastery getting his life right. You
Yeah.
pleased with his character and his ending?
Um, I hate that Rick got him off his sobriety. And I one thing I will say, I appreciate motherfucker. If we gonna do it, fuck it.
We gonna go there.
Do it. You know what I'm saying? It reminded me like of Mean Girls when Tina Fey is like, "You're already out." It is what it is. Once I'm outside, him going back to his Zen life, sure, but I would have liked to see him wake up in the morning after that bender and be like, "Yo, god damn it, let me get back."
Straight up.
I would have liked to see him have that morning after moment of clarity, like, oh shit, I fucked up. Let me get back to my zen.
I am pleased with the fact that he at least ended up at the monastery.
Yeah.
Trying to get his life back. At least they ain't leave us hanging there. So what about Guy Talk?
I I'm a link Guy Talk and Mook. Um, given how that ended. Guy Talk, we see him become the security guard that he offered because the two that uh Tritala had hired, were unalived by Rick.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, damn, we ain't got nobody else to do it. And for him not to have believed in violence, he was a good shot. When he did in fact take Rick's life, I, I'm glad he got the job in the lowest of keys. I know he wanted Mook, but I wish he low key would have paid her dust.
One of the worst parts about this is the fact that he got moved. And that just comes from Guy Talk never having a bad chick ever in his life.
Yeah.
Like ever being able to pull one. So he's overly excited that he's got one on his arm now. But that was big disappointment to me because we all saw it. We even saw how she reacted. And there could be a conversation to be had about maybe we're hard on Mook because Mook just wanted an ambitious man. But Mook wasn't shit.
It wasn't about the ambition. It was about the danger. It was about a level of bravado and confidence. And the only reason I feel, I mean, whatever, because you're going to do what you're going to do as far as Mook goes. But what I feel bad about Guy Talk, you ever see a dude with their first quote unquote bad bitch?
Yeah. It's embarrassing.
Even if you. I'm trying not to say what I want to say. um, even if you get her and lock her down, you are going to be making concessions and this, that, and the third that you just never ever would have to do. And it's not even about leveling up, but doing whatever you got to do to keep this woman that's quote unquote out of your league and really don't want you, but here you are. Let the thorn in my side tell it, all stepdads across the world.
which is I know what you're talking about, and that's just hilarious to me. I never thought about that until we had that conversation, and that's one of the funniest shits ever. That's one of the funniest shits ever, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. Shout out to everybody that stepped up, but damn.
For sure. Shout out to them.
Okay. Valentin and his boys.
Did they go to jail?
Nope.
They're just free.
Didn't get deported. What did you think about Guy Talk's decision not to report him?
This is what I'm talking about. What the fuck? You ask Valentin their names. You and Valentin ain't that cool where you care that much that they might get deported.
Right.
Who cares? Motherfucker, you put guests in danger. You stole and you knocked me over my damn head. Are you crazy?
We know that Guy Talk's he's a Buddhist. And wants to keep as much peace as possible. And I think when Valentin walked up on him and said, if I go home, I'm dead. I think Guy Talk took that to heart and said, you know what? I'm going to spare you. I'm going to spare you.
You don't have to go home.
That's my whole point, right? I guess the whole point was, and listen, I hear you, bro. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like you said, Rachel, you did
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z, bro. You play in the dirt, you get dirty, my nigga. You
That's
should have thought
it.
about that shit before you started robbing niggas. Should have been cleaner about your shit. Now I found out, so now you gotta go. It is what it is. I'm sorry, nigga. Be
And
a better criminal. Be
you
a better
hit.
criminal.
You didn't have to. I didn't have no weapon. There was no way for me really to stop you. Y'all could have drove through that fence, drove around it. You didn't have to fucking pistol with me. Are you crazy?
Yeah, man.
No,
I don't give a fuck when it is. I'm getting my lick back.
that's it. And
I'm
so
getting my
now,
lick back is getting your ass fired. They didn't even show Valentin in the closing.
nope.
Like he just still on that resort, just chilling. Like that's how
Hmm.
untied that whole shit was.
Yeah, didn't
Either
love that.
way,
The last time we
but
saw him, what was at the table with the girls?
yeah, it's on some.
Yeah, we ain't fucking
Hope
with
y'all
you,
doing well.
Valentin.
Shit crazy. Belinda, Porn Chai, and Zion and Greg.
And Greg, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I already spoke my piece on the porn chai of it all. Hate it had to be you, my guy. Maybe with that $5 million, Belinda can send him some seed money so that you don't need me. You can do a little bit of this on your own.
I feel like that. I feel that's on brand for her.
Yeah, let me do what I'm gonna do with my $5 million. Damn, can I just be rich for a second? You know, that's what essentially what she said. Let me figure my
Mm-hmm.
shit out. I can send you $10,000 gonna go a long way in Thailand. So
Fair. I ain't had to give you shit.
right. And again, I did not agree. You posed this idea. I didn't say yes or no. I told you I would think about it. I took into consideration. I got some shit going on. I got to get home. That's it. Um, I understood, but I didn't like Zion's business
Approach.
deal approach with Gregory. I didn't like that,
Mm-mm.
but
What part didn't you like,
that
or
has
what was it about it? Go ahead, man. We already there.
obviously I work in corporate. I have a work voice. It's not the work voice we started this episode with. If you ever listen to my voicemail, you'll be like, bitch, what? Who the fuck is that? As most people do. I don't like when black men put on like that dude, bro.
Yeah, the Drewski voice.
Drews, I cannot stand that. I appreciated him closing the deal, but I wish it would have been a little bit more serious. I don't know, but that might just be a me thing. I wish he was more something else. I don't
Mm,
know. And I know that there's a fine line. You don't want to come in here making demands. You don't want to come in with extra bravado that might make the situation tense where we're in this man's house with no weapons and really no sense of protection. We don't know what he got going on in here, this, and the third. But I just didn't care for it. I was surprised, pleasantly surprised when Belinda, when they get up, she makes it seem like she ain't on it. But she like,
yeah,
nah, close this shit. I was pleasantly surprised with that. I appreciate that he did the research, nigga. You got $500 million. You can give me five.
yeah.
You
That's
can give
real.
me
That's real. 1%.
1%. And Gary felt like that was sufficient. If I'll never have to hear from you again, all of this is essentially behind me until it's not. It is what it is. Because the reality is, she done told Pornchai and Fabian. You could get shaken down again. Who knows? Who
True.
knows? You know, but it won't be for 5 mil. It doesn't have to be that. Again, $10,000 go a long way.
That's some real shit.
So,
Yeah, it's I could appreciate the scene of
mhm,
Zion and what he was trying to do, but it was a
yeah,
little bit being a little bit too cavalier about this whole
yeah,
situation, bro. Let's get
yeah.
straight to the let's talk about the business because you said I don't care about what you did, I don't care about what you're gonna do. That's how you lead. All the extra shit,
Hmm.
you're balling. When you add that G on there, like all right, bro, chill.
Exactly.
Because he don't give a fuck about that. Like Brown, what are you here for? Are you taking my offer? No. So what's it gonna take? And I
Hmm.
like the setup. Don't get me wrong. And Belinda leaving was brilliant. She
Yeah,
finally bought
for sure.
into it. Like, oh, this nigga ain't kick us out once he said 5 million. This
Yeah.
might actually be a play.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't know, man. I just feel like if you're gonna, not everybody can walk in the room and just drop it on the table.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Shit, like you just not everybody can do it, and that's just what it comes down to, bro. You're not a heavy hitter like that.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You're just not a heavy hitter like that. You can't come in and act like you dictating this deal
Yeah.
because people like Greg, Gary, they'll do some shit out of spite. I got the 5, but the fact that you asked me in the way that you asking me, I'm not gonna give it to you, even though it's nothing to me.
I could,
Or I could really have you fucking clipped out here,
you took the
and that'd
word.
be the end of all this shit.
I could literally do it myself. Nobody knows you're here. I'll shoot the shit out of both of
Literally,
y'all. Have Moody's bodies. It doesn't matter. I can get you the fuck out of here.
yeah. So, like you said, the research part was great.
Hmm.
Came prepared. You got it done, but you really got it done because my secret is way too large for me to even fuck around with it.
Be playing
It's
with
easier
y'all.
for me to, yeah. So let me just go ahead and pay this 5 mil. You're only worth what you negotiate.
That's it.
And 5 mil, shout out to Zion for
Mhm.
hitting Belinda with the million. And then when they got there, because she even started coughing.
Yeah.
What? Nigga, I would have went for 10. But he asked the right amount that he knew he wasn't gonna say yes to
Hmm.
right away, but he also knew he wouldn't say no to. So shout out
A
to him for that.
slow yes is better than a fast no.
Facts. Facts.
Hmm.
What are we thinking about? I guess we got to talk about it, man. Rick and Chelsea.
R.I.P. to my girl. Um, I knew that Chelsea was gonna. I feel like I said that I knew Chelsea was gonna die just
Yeah, you
because
did
of
say that.
the snake and then the robbery. Like too much for her to be into all of this energy and this, that, and the third. Too much bad shit was happening to her on this trip,
Mm-hmm.
or for her not to meet her demise. Unfortunate because she really did not deserve it. She didn't do shit. All she did was try to love. Ooh, all she tried to do was love a bad man. Um,
Nah, shit. Here we go.
my soapbox. I'm just saying, unfortunate. Rick, we had the discovery, and maybe I said it or at least thought it.
You said that was his dad. Once again, we played the Rachel be knowing game on Raising Canaan. And now we're having our time on White Lotus. Rachel be
Come
knowing because
on,
she definitely said that's that man's dad.
come on. So, shout out to him for revealing the Tritala that was his son. But I wish we would have heard that or gotten the story to say,
Mm-hmm.
oh, Brenda Sue said that he was dead or she got an abortion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Because he called his mama a liar. So tell us how we got here, other than saying
Yeah.
you killed my husband. I mean, yeah. Tell us how we got here. But he had to go. It is what it is.
Definitely had to go.
I wasn't really moved by his death. It reminded me of your favorite movie, Queen and Slim, when he's carrying when Slim is carrying deceased queen's body trying to get on that helicopter. Babe, you're not going anywhere. It's over.
Yeah, man.
It
Yeah,
reminded
shout
me
out.
of that final scene.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. You were funny as shit. Um, the Ratliff family.
Again, I felt like Victoria drunk a lot of that smoothie before Tim told everybody to stop. So I actually thought she was not going to wake up. Um, I was surprised when he actually woke up because again, he also had drank more than a sip of the concoction.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I wish we would have gotten him telling them and their reactions to being broke. I loved Victoria once Piper actually started telling her, like, bitch, Ma, I can't do that shit. I'm just like y'all. I didn't think I was, but I'm
She
just
gave
like
it.
you.
She
But
gave it that thumbs up.
that's it. But mamas be knowing. They know their children. And she knew Piper ass was full of shit, you know? Um, it is very interesting because again, Lockie is the one who said he can live without the wealth. I'm cool. So he was interested in not only going but staying at the monastery. Like, tell him I'm coming with you, babe. You're gonna be here by yourself because Piper's not coming. She's
She's not
done
coming
with
at all.
it. And I said it when we got the final reveal. So maybe that's episode 3 or 4 again, if I'm Tim, I'm even more so going off because our lives are blowing up and we are literally across the world for no fucking reason. I'm blowing a gasket. That's why I ain't got no kids because I know how to control my anger. So,
Yeah, I might really follow through on that plan that I had
at
for
that
y'all.
point, you mean we're literally over here for fucking nothing?
Because he's in North Carolina. That man got guns at the crib.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
for
got
sure.
50. He got 50, 11 guns at the crib. Like,
He's got 50-11. You're right about it. So that really disappointed me. I was actually surprised that we started off the season hating Saxon Loki, but I don't hate him at the end. It's unfortunate what it took for us to see some character development and him actually not getting any of the girls, which is what he set out this trip to do. But shout out to him for reading and this, that, and the third.
you fell for that shit, man. You fell into the I care about Saxon camp.
I don't care about him. I'm just saying, shout out to
Okay.
you for not going out like a total sucker.
Hmm. Nah, because I just whatever. Like the whole Ratliff family
Mhm.
story was entertaining. I was gonna say pivotal, but it really wasn't. But they did. I do appreciate Mike taking that character, i.e. Shane
Mhm.
from season 1, and at least giving them some kind of redemption. You can
Yeah,
appreciate that a little bit. The issue is, as we mentioned earlier, is how we got there, and is
for
it real
sure.
or not? I just, bro, you spent 6 episodes, Tim. You spent 6 episodes trying to kill your family, and then just like, you know what? Things are just gonna change. Like you've been stressing about this, my nigga. You stole your wife's prescriptions, used all of them, literally had the gun to your head. Like stole a gun. We didn't even talk about that. You did all of this just to get back on that boat and say, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna be broke." You were about to murder your entire family, minus Lockie. And then the one that said he was cool, he ended up drinking the shit. It was just too much. That let's get some realism in here.
I needed that reaction. I needed that blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Victoria hearing that news, sans any lorazepam. Are you fucking crazy? That would have been gold. Her ranting, Victoria sober poverty monologue, it would have been awful, but beautiful
Yeah,
television.
beautiful TV,
And maybe that's why
beautiful
we
TV.
can't do it because it would have been too bad. But oh my God,
Mm.
that
It's
would have
HBO,
been
baby.
gold. It's
It's HBO,
HBO.
man. Them niggas made Oz, man. Don't
Exactly.
don't watch Oz for y'all. By the way, not because it's a bad show, but if you tell me you're watching Oz, I'm worried about you. Watching that shit for fun. Lastly, the ladies, Jacqueline, Kate, Lori.
Yeah, I already said, I would have liked to see them have a come to Jesus moment, since we know that they did essentially reconcile and have this epiphany at the end, because otherwise, and how it really goes is at that last dinner and that trip home. Yeah, we might all be at the table, but it's quiet as fuck.
I'm your girl.
No,
you want
girl.
you want the video? You want them all being around the table and
Well, see, no, because in the girls' video, we are having a conversation about you getting your ass beat by a man.
oh shit, that what that song about?
Yes. And
Damn,
so, girl,
shit, that shit just got dark for me. I
oh
thought they
yeah,
was just checking it.
you
I
don't
thought
know?
they was just checking up on the homie. Like, you
No,
good? I didn't know she was out
no,
here getting her
no,
ass
no,
whooped.
no, 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 no. Okay, so
Golly.
in the song, um, I I ain't gonna do. I've been knowing since you were 10. You cannot hide from your friends. Like, girl, don't you know he's been cheating? He's unfaithful. Like, he's whack. This nigga's raggedy. Hindsight. Remember when Kelly Rowland released Dirty Laundry?
Yeah.
She admitted, because fans were saying, oh, they were talking to you in the girl video. And Kelly was the subject of the video. And she confirmed, like, yes, and I was in an abusive relationship. So all of that, destiny fulfilled, full circle. Like, yeah, that ain't
You're
no
good. You're good.
just a girl's lunchtime. This is, bitch, are you okay?
Damn.
Like, what's going on here? Do we need to
Damn.
call the people? And maybe that's just our
Damn.
cousins, not the police.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I ain't talking about feds, nigga. Them body snatchers,
For
nigga.
sure.
You heard what I said. Shout out to Hov, man. Bar for everything. Um,
So yeah, I would have
damn.
liked to see that. I would have liked Jacqueline went on about that husband. Damn, does he find out? I would have loved to get the retelling of Lori's
You
more
not
than
want.
eventful night. Like, it's just that we needed that. The same way we needed Victoria reacting to being poor, we needed the retelling of that story. And as somebody who is a storyteller,
Yeah,
when I'm recapping, the queen of the recap in the group chat, like, I would have loved to see that.
yeah, he ain't telling. He ain't finding out because he out here fucking too. So
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
it
sure.
is what it is between them. Yeah, I just all right. So let me ask you this question, and then we'll kind of just talk about MVPs and wrap this up. When it comes to the ladies, what's their
Ladies.
relationship look? Ladies, you look good. What's their relationship like when they get back from this trip? Is their relationship still? Is there ever another girls' trip with them three?
Oh
Are they
yeah.
talking more? Like, what's going on with them?
They're not talking when they get back immediately, but they'll an email will go out. Hey, I have a vacation planned, or I want to take a trip. Like, let's do XYZ. But they're
Okay,
not. They're going to go back to their lives and then do another trip next year, or at least the year after.
interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what that group looks like. And lastly, we've already talked about the characters, but I just have to ask you this: Will any will season 4 be all new characters, or are we going to get any recurring characters? Are we going to get anybody from previous seasons? Maybe anybody from season 3, or would you want that?
So on the Bird app, Mike White did say he would love to do an all-star White Lotus
It's like
season.
the what's that? The challenge,
Yeah.
the real world road rules challenge shit, like the all star version.
Um,
That'd be
so
too. What do you think
maybe
about that?
somebody from every season mixed in with new people. It could be very funny. It could be very interesting. So in the tradition of what we've seen in seasons 2 and 3, then we do get somebody on
Mm,
the island. I just on the next trip, I just don't know who I would want to see. Maybe
I would love
Victoria
to see.
and the friend that Kate came back with, and we get both of them again.
That would be brilliant. That would
Yeah.
be brilliant. I would publicly take back everything I said about season 3. If it's set up, if season 3 sets up a great season 4,
Mhm.
even though they're not connected, but in some way they are, that would be phenomenal. I would definitely fuck with that.
I would love that, but that would mean that Oh, all right, White Lotus. Victoria's lost her money. So one of the other friends pays for Victoria to come because she still is in the friend group. And then we see how gossipy K-Dass is, and it goes
Mhm.
from there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just hard. I could see Victoria with this. We can lead into MVPs of the season. We didn't see it right away, but Victoria has some of that Jennifer Coolidge. Not to mix a fictional character with a real person.
Yeah.
Parker Posey had her character had some of that Tanya
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer Coolidge energy where you're just fascinated by this person, and
Mm-hmm.
they just make watching the show better
Mm-hmm.
by how ridiculous they are,
Yeah.
but in a real way, not in a very unassuming way. Like they don't know we're the only ones that know they're ridiculous,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I would love to see her character back. I would love that. I would love that. And I have to ask you, let's talk about MVP candidates. I know you already mentioned that you think it's Parker Posey for the role of Victoria Ratliff. Some other people that I think should be in the nomination: Carrie Coon for Lori
Mm-hmm.
Duffy, Walter Goggins for Rich Hatchett. A sleeper pick, somebody that grew on me when you look at his performance. The character was annoying. He's not going to win. But honorable mention, I got to give it to Jason Isaacs for Tim Ratliff. I kind of dig the same way you kind of felt about Saxon. I kind of felt that about Tim, even though I hated the storyline. Thought the
Yeah.
performance was great. And
Tim
then my
is
last,
on my list. He's not a sleeper for me. Go ahead.
oh, he is. He's on this list. Okay, I think I don't know if I can separate his character versus the acting performances.
Mm-hmm.
Acting performance A+. Like I said, bro, you just out here eating these pills for 6 episodes and that's it. Like, come on, man, let's get a little bit more. Even though there's more to it, it's deeper than that. But and then lastly, maybe another sleeper pick, Amy Lou Wood is Chelsea.
Is that Chelsea?
And yeah, and I think that's it. I think that's everybody that I wanted to mention. So
Okay.
yeah, that would be my candidate pool.
Obviously, Parker Posey. Um, what's
Mm-hmm.
Tim's name? Tim,
Oh, Jason Isaacs.
Jason, Chelsea, Sam Rockwell, honorable mention.
Mm. So who's your MVP out of all of those?
Parker
Is it
Posey.
Parker?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't even have to think about it.
Not at all.
Yeah, I think that
Chelsea facial expressions, honorable mention.
yeah, as well as Walter Goggins Ricks.
Yeah.
Hmm. There were too many lulls with Rick. I think he spent too much time trying to get over to Bangkok. That I think that time could have been used to really solidify his position. I did enjoy him on screen, but I didn't enjoy the vendetta. Once again, the whys don't. So this shit drove you to the point where you about to go to this resort to go find it. Like, think about the odds of all this having to work out perfectly for him to even be in the same room with dude with no security to shoot him. It just seemed a little far fetched. Not impossible, a little bit far fetched. I got to give it to Parker Posey.
For sure. We didn't even talk about it since we didn't do episode 7. The fact that you, Rick, brought Frank onto this boat with no research of Tritala's movie history.
Wow.
Somebody who you know has armed guards and security and this, that, and the third. You're lucky that y'all made it out of there alive before we even get back to the resort.
Beyond wild.
Crazy.
But yeah, Parker Posey, I just think that she did a phenomenal job
For sure.
this season. Wouldn't have guessed it, like I said, episode 1. But as you really look at what she did with that character, from the accent just to the crazy saying, we flew over the North Pole to get here, all that dumb shit. Like, it was just ridiculous. And I was entertained.
For sure.
I was entertained. Rachel, anything else before we get out of here?
Despite being less than pleased with season 3, I'm still ready for season 4 whenever it comes.
Yeah, it's not.
I'm gonna watch in the same way I'm gonna watch The Shy
Yeah, yeah. I was just about to say that we've only retired one show. I'm
Yeah,
still gonna watch the show. We're just not gonna talk about
exactly.
it.
Exactly.
I would. We're gonna talk about season 4 of White Lotus.
Okay.
I think, right?
We'll see. We'll see. We'll see
I'm
what else
not
is
ready.
going
I
on.
don't.
I'm not gonna
We'll,
promise.
we'll watch the first couple episodes and see if it's worth the conversation. Because what we
Yes.
don't want to do, in all seriousness, what we don't want to do is start something that just trail off.
We just trail off.
Because this honestly could have been one of those. This could have been one of those. You know what?
For
We
sure.
good. Like this ain't for us. We're gonna exit stage left.
Yep.
And I'm glad it didn't turn into that. I'm glad we got some content out of it. So Rachel, as always, phenomenal job by you. And what I really do want to say is Raising Canaan, y'all. I know
Bruh.
we mentioned it briefly on this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the episodes that they're giving us, but the conversations Rachel and myself are having, I think are incredible.
No
I think they're
bias.
incredible.
They're really good.
Yeah. And I'm not just saying that because we're doing it. I don't even like giving myself compliments in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But was listening to some of the shit and I'm like, oh, and in real time it feels good. So please, if you are watching Raising Canaan, please make sure you check out our discussions on that. If you're not watching Raising Canaan or like, what the hell is that? Check it out on Stars.
For sure.
Phenomenal television. Patina Miller should be nominated for all the awards. Incredible cast. Shout out to Ray P. That's where we'll be. Raising Canaan. No more White Lotus. At least, well, maybe no more White Lotus ever. We'll see. But shout out to Mike White. Shout out to the cast.
For sure.
Let's bring it home next year, man. Let's really try to make sure we give something that the people want.
Thank you for the entertainment. Y'all be cool. How y'all? Oh, my light died.
Perfect fitting to the end of this episode and talking about White Lotus. The light died, y'all.
Peace out, y'all. Thanks for watching, listening, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you in advance. Bye.
We out. Peace.